Welcome to Typewriter Minutes. This is Eli. What is it about the Swedish? They seem to do things a little bit differently. Some might even say they're a little quirky. Is it the cold Nordic air?
This is Jonah. What's the deal with that Saab 900? That Swedish car is more like an airplane.
And how about the Volvo station wagon? Another Swedish oddity.
This is Sam. Everybody knows that the Swedish chef is a little offbeat, if you know what I mean.
IKEA stores started in Sweden. Ever been in one of those funky stores?
This is Ailey. Remember the Swedish pop band ABBA? Dad, what are they wearing?
Even though the Swedes do things a little differently, we can thank them for these great things. Ship propellers, dynamite, the zipper, the Celsius temperature scale, ultrasound, 3-point seat belt, and most important of all, Swedish fish. So it's a little quirky and a little different, but it makes an excellent product, and that pretty much sums up this Swedish Facit TP1.
This was a local Craigslist find. It was probably the dirtiest typewriter I've ever seen on the inside when we got it, and it took a long time to get it cleaned up. But now that it's done, it ranks up there as one of my favorite typers. Might be my favorite. The looks of it, I think, are just really cool. Some people say that it's kind of a drab gray, but I call it Viking gray. In fact, that's what Facit called it. It has a really nice chiseled look to it. If you zoom in on the corners here, you could see how it's angled, and it's a really nice touch. It has a matte gray finish, and again, kind of chiseled looking knobs. On the front, there's a round facet plate. A little bit later models went to a square one. I'll show you what these functions are in a little bit, but just want to give you a quick tour of the looks. It's got these really neat buttons on the back, look like little round chiclets. It says Facit, and then we have looks like a Viking boat for Sweden, which is pretty neat. All around, just a really nice looking typewriter in Viking gray. The keys are just concave enough. They have a really nice touch when you type on them. Everything about it is really solid. It's all steel. Everything's very precise, and we'll get into the functions in a minute, but just very, very impressed all around with what the Swedish did with this machine.
You could say that the Facit TP1 is a princely typewriter. It was designed by Sigvard Bernadotte, a Swedish royal prince and a great-grandson of Queen Victoria. As noted in Robert Messenger's excellent blog post on the Facit, Bernadotte is best remembered today as one of Sweden's greatest industrial designers. His work also included furniture, kitchenwares for Husqvarna, flatware for Scandinavian airline SAS, bowls for Rosti Margrethe, and radios for Bang & Olufsen. Bernadotte visited the United States after World War II and became impressed by the work of U.S. industrial designers such as Henry Dreyfuss, who designed the 1948-49 Royal Quiet Deluxe.
The Facit retailed for $109.50, and it was promoted by the Facit Man.
All right, let's get to it.
All right, why do we say that it's quirky and a little bit different? First thing, let's look at the bottom of the machine.
It comes with a nice pegboard for your wall.
Why they've used this type of masonite stuff, I have no idea. It's painted on this side, and the other side looks like brown masonite pegboard. I don't know if they use that as a cost-saving measure instead of using steel, or if it was just a design thing. But I guess if you're short on space in your garage, you could maybe hang up some of your supplies and tools. I don't know. Not sure why they use that, but it's kind of interesting, different. And where are the typewriter feet? Usually they go there, 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 and there. There are no typewriter feet on this machine. There's just one long boot, rubber boot on the bottom. Again, I don't know why they did that, but I guess just to be different, but it actually works very well. It keeps the typewriter really firmly planted and grips really well. The keys look like upside down tombstones.
What do you want on your tombstone? A QWERTY?
And we'll show you on the type test later how nicely it types. Basic keys, it's got a 1 and an exclamation mark key. You have the ribbon color selector down here. You can see it has like these little brushed aluminum dots instead of being painted on, which is kind of nice. Has a very precise feel to it. Carriage lock is this silver button right here. And when you push this up and down, I'll show you what that does. On the side here, as you're pushing the carriage lever, activates this little doodad that comes up and down. And so now it's not locked, and you'll see on the carriage itself there's a little slot right there. So when you move the carriage lever up, that little doodad comes up and locks in that slot. So that's how you lock the carriage to put it in the case. Push down to release, and then the carriage is unlocked. We'll show you more about the carriage in a few minutes. Okay, the ribbon cover pops right off. It's made out of steel, and it just has these little cutout grooves here that rest on these little rounded knobs, and that's how you put it back on. It just slides on, and then these doodads go into the little springs to hold it in place. It's a basket shift or segment shift, so it's very light on the pinkies. The ribbon reverse mechanism does not use eyelets or grommets. It's a tension-based system, so when it gets to the end of the ribbon, the tension pulls these one way or the other, and that's what triggers the ribbon reverse. I haven't found a manual reverse lever, but you can flip this little doodad on this side or on this side, and that will trigger the ribbon reverse. There's a little amber rubber bumper underneath, which the type bars rest on. Just a very nice, simple, elegant little type basket. Now we'll put the ribbon cover back on, like so. It snaps in place. Almost forgot, there is a touch control right here. With little grooved settings, I keep it in the middle. Okay, we got the paper bail up here, the little paper table that lifts up, and the paper guide that slides back and forth. Another quirky thing about this machine is the margin settings. You push and slide, but what I can't figure out is this actually doesn't line up where these are with where the margins are actually set. So you can see the margin is actually to the left of that setting, and the margin is to the right of that setting. And I've double checked these, and I've looked at a friend's machine, and they're the same. So I don't know why the margins don't actually line up with the buttons, if that was just a quirky thing or what, but I can't figure that out. We have the line spacing right here, and we have 1 dots. Zoom in there, Mr. Cameraman. 1, 2, and 3 for single, double, and triple spacing. Over here, you can either pull the platen knob out to allow the platen to spin freely, or this lever here does the same thing. You can spin it without any clicks if you need to line it up on a form. I think if you use this one, the lever, it remembers where your click positions are, and if you use the knob, you'll lose it. Now let's talk about another quirky but really excellent design feature of the Facit, and that's the carriage tube. It's unlike anything I've ever seen on a portable typewriter. Instead of a regular carriage rail system, it has this tube with ball bearings in it. and the ball bearings you can't see, but inside the tube the ball bearings go in between this outer tube and this little inner bar, and this produces the smoothest carriage I've ever felt. It just makes me want to sit here and do this all day long. It is just so darn smooth. So quirky, but excellent. Okay, another quirky feature is the tab setting feature.
For some reason, it's on the side.
There's a little silver lever on this side that has a number 1 on it. And then on the right side, there's a little silver lever that says B. I'd like to know what the B stands for in Swedish. I have no idea. The one on the left side allows you to set individual tab stops. You can see the tab bar in there. So to set tabs, individual tabs, you push it this way. To clear them, you pull it this way. So if you want to tab set, you push it forward. Tab set, push it forward. So now your tabs are set at those positions. And then to clear them individually, tab over and then pull. Tab, pull. And now those tab settings, let's clear one more. Now those tabs, no, we have more tabs set than I thought. Clear, 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 clear. Now all the tabs are cleared. All right, so it sets and clears individual tab stops. So what? What's so weird about that?
Well, on the other side, there's another one that sets preset tabs.
So if you push this one, it has preset tabs at 0, 20, 42, 64, 74, and a few others. And then you can clear them all at once by pulling that one. So now all the tabs are clear. Shouldn't let that bang like that. So you'll see in here, as I push and clear that button, you can see some of the little tab stops popping out. Zoom in there. So it clears and sets them all at once. So I've never seen a typewriter, a portable typewriter, that has both individual tab stop settings, which you can set, as well as preset tab stops that you can set and clear all at once. Different, but really a cool design.
A couple more things that are on just about every typewriter.
Here's the paper rest. I'm sorry, the paper release if you need to straighten your paper. And then the paper support is kind of hidden back here. This little silver thing, lift it up, and these paper supports come out in parallel, so that's kind of cool.
They're like little antennae.
Up and down.
Now for a quick type test.
Okay, paper support up. I used 2 or 3 pieces of paper because the platen is a little bit hard.
First on the black setting, the quick red fox jumped over the lazy brown dogs.
Has a really direct action on the typing. I don't have an SM9, but I have an SM7 and an SM8. And the typing action on this, I would say, is on par or even a little bit better.
Now on the red setting, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country.
So let's zoom in on that. Typeface looks really good. Now let's do a quick alignment test.
Capital H, small h, capital H, small h, capital H, small h. Capital H,
small h, shift,
capital
H, small h.
Capital H, small h. Capital H, small h, capital H, small h, capital H, small h.
Let me zoom in. Looks really good. Didn't even have to adjust that.
Here's the case for this typewriter.
So the case has a nice sturdy handle. These supports had rust on it, which is funny because the typewriter didn't have any rust, but I got the rust off last night. The case is in good shape. It's a little bit discolored on this side. I'm still working on getting that off. It has rubber feet here and rubber feet on the bottom. When you're ready to open the case, you just push the latches. That comes off. The top lid comes off to reveal a red interior. Made in Sweden. It's got this funky little button, and you put your papers and whatnot in there. And it has a red bottom, and these are the latching mechanisms. These little slots there go into these slots on the bottom of the case, or on the bottom of the typewriter. So you just slide it in. Like so. And then pull these latches forward. And now the typewriter is secured. I'm not a big fan of this style of case that comes off like this. You have to line those latches back up. Close it back up. You have to make sure these are properly aligned. And then close the case, and you're good to go.
We'll wrap up this video with some likes and dislikes about the Facit. Some likes include its sweet typing action and light basket shift, and its smooth carriage tube.
Also, the individual or preset tab stops, and the Viking gray chiseled design.
The dislikes: it has a hard platen. The margin settings don't line up with the actual margins. If there are other Facit owners out there, if you think I'm missing the boat on something, please let me know. The case lid that comes off, I prefer the case lids that just remain attached. And then finally, the back plate is hard to disassemble completely because there's important things that are attached back here. So to take it apart and chemically clean it, it's very hard because very important things are attached there. So anyway, that's it for Typewriter Minutes.
Be sure to share, link, like, and subscribe. Now, if you'll excuse us, we're going to drive in some funky-looking cars to IKEA, listening to some ABBA, and buy some Swedish fish.
I heard a Typewriter Minute. I heard a